Okay, guys, so today I want us to revise this paper, which is chemistry. So we are going to start with section B. So the first question, state the name given to the change of state labeled A and B. So the change of state labeled A and B. So first of all, we have to identify these diagrams. So the first diagram is in solid state. Solid state. Then the second diagram is in liquid state. Liquid state. Then the third diagram is in gaseous state. Gas. So first A is the change from gas or from liquid to gas. So what do we call the change from liquid to gas? This is called evaporation. This is called evaporation. So evaporation. Then what is B? The change from liquid to solid. What do we call this change? This is freezing. Freezing. Then the second question, describe the movement of particles in a gas. So the movement of particles in a gas, so we can say particles in a gas are free to move because they are specially packed packed pa- because they are specially packed. Okay, let's go to the next question. The next question, which of the changes A, B, or C is endothermic? So let's go to the diagram. Which of these changes A, B, or C is in? So which of these A, B, or C is endothermic? So to answer this question, first of all, you need to understand what endothermic is. So endothermic means this is the absorption of heat from the environment in order for the reaction to take place. So when we look at A, this is evaporation. So in order for evaporation to take place, it needs heat. It needs to absorb heat in order for it to take place. So the answer for this question is A. So we can say A is endothermic. And they said explain your answer. And we can say this is because in order for evaporation to take place, it needs to absorb heat. Okay, so the next question, state the kinetic theory of matter. So the kinetic theory of matter states that matter is made up of thin particles that moves in continuous random motion. So it states that matter is made up of thin, tiny particles that moves about in random random motion. This is the kinetic theory of matter. Then the second question, ammonium sulfate is an inorganic salt used commonly in agriculture as soil fertilizer. What do you understand by the term salt? So a salt is a substance, or we can say a compound, the substance that is formed when an hydrogen ion in an acid is partially or wholly wholly or wholly replaced by a metal ion. This is what a salt is. Then the second question, write a chemical formula of ammonium sulfate. So the chemical formula of ammonium sulfate is written like this. First of all, let's write the formula for ammonium. So the formula for ammonium is like this. This is ammonium. Then it has a valence of 1. So, and sulfate, the formula for sulfate is like this. Sulfate. This is sulfate. And sulfate has a valence of 2. So when the valences exchange, ammonium will look like this. Then 1, we can't write 1 here. So the formula for ammonium sulfate is just like this. This is ammonium sulfate. So if you want to know more about how to write the chemical formulas, you can WhatsApp me. I'll give you the line after this. So let's go to the second question. Is ammonium sulfate a mixture or a compound? Ammonium sulfate is a compound. It is a compound. It is a compound. Compound. It is a compound. Give a reason. Because it is made up of two or more elements which are chemically combined. A mixture also is made up of two or more elements, but a mixture it can be easily separated, while a compound cannot be easily separated. This is the difference between a mixture and a compound, because a compound is chemically combined while a mixture is physically combined. Therefore, a mixture can be easily separated rather than a compound. So let's go to the second to the last question of second question. How many atoms are there in the molecule of ammonium sulfate? So first of all, we have to write the formula for ammonium sulfate. So what is the formula for ammonium sulfate? The formula is like this. This is ammonium sulfate. Then we can say how many oxygen atoms are there? 4. So we have 4 oxygen atoms. How many sulfur atoms are there? Sulfur atoms, we only have 1. Then how many hydrogen atoms are there? So to know the number of hydrogen atoms, we need to multiply this 4 times 2. So hydrogen atom has 8. We have 8 atoms of hydrogen. Then what about nitrogen? Nitrogen, it has E8 as 1, so we can multiply 1 times 2, so we have 2 atoms of nitrogen. Therefore, to find the number of atoms in ammonium sulfate, we need to add all these numbers. So we can say 2 plus 8, this is 10. 10 plus 1, this is 11, plus 4, this is 15. So it has 15 atoms. That's 15 atoms. Let's go to the third question. The diagram below shows the structure of an element W. So what is this element? Element W. What type of bond would be formed when W reacts with carbon? It reacts with carbon. Give a reason for your answer. So to know this, first of all, we have to know what is this. What is this compound? So to know this compound, we have to to know if it is a metal or if it's a non-metal. So to know if it's a non-metal or a metal, we have to count the number of electrons in the outermost shell. So in the outermost shell, it has 2, 4, 6. So this it has 6 electrons in the outermost shell. So these 6 electrons, when you go to the periodic table, it means this element, it is found in group 6. It is found in group 6. And compounds and elements that are found in group 6, these are non-metals. So if we combine this non-metal with carbon, which is also a non-metal, the compound which will be formed here, it's a compound which will be formed here. It's a covalent bond. Covalent bond. Reason, because both elements are non-metals. Because both elements are non-metals. And if you want to know much about bonding, you can WhatsApp me on the line which will be given to you later. Then draw the dot and close structure of the compound formed when W bonds with the carbon atom. So what is this W? This W, when we go to periodic table, it has the total number of electrons, it has 8 electrons. And if you go to the periodic table, the element with 8 electrons, it's oxygen. So when oxygen reacts with carbon, they form what we call carbon dioxide. So to draw a dot and cross diagram, let's draw it here. So it forms carbon dioxide. So this means that two 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 elements of oxygen are needed to react with one element of carbon dioxide. So the dot and close diagram would be like this. This is oxygen, this is carbon dioxide. So this is oxygen, this is carbon dioxide, and also another oxygen, because it has two oxygens. Oxygen. So to light this bond, let's first light the electronic configuration of each element. So the electronic configuration of carbon is like this, is equal to, then the electronic configuration of oxygen is equal to, so carbon has a total number of electrons. The total number of electrons in carbon atom are 6. So we have in the first shell it will have 2, comma, in the second shell it will have 4 electrons. So it needs 4 more in order for the second shell to be full. Then when it comes to oxygen, it has an electron configuration of 2, 2, 2,6. So this one needs 2 more in order for it to be full. So these 2 will be here. So we'll put the 2 here, 1, 2. Then we also put the two electrons of carbon here, 1, 2. Then also here we are going to put 1, 2. Also 1, 2. So the electrons of carbon are finished, which is 1, 2, 3, 4, which are in the outermost shell. They have been finished. Then when we look at carbon, it is now full because it has 4 and 4. This is 8. Then for oxygen, we have 4, so we remain with 2. So we can put here 2, 1, 2. Even here 1, 2. So even here 1, 2. Even here 1, 2. So all the 6 have been written. So 2, 4, 6 plus this 6, it has a full shell. Also here 2, 4 plus this 4, 6, 8. So it has a full shell now. So let's go to the next question. Like this, you have written the dot and close diagram. So let's go to the second question. State 2 characteristics of a compound formed in B above. So here we can just write the characteristic of a covalent bond. So what are the characteristics of a covalent bond? The first characteristic is that it is made up of molecules. It is made up of molecules. The second one is that it has a low boiling and melting point. So let's go to the fourth question of this paper. Sodium metal burns explosively in oxygen gas to form sodium oxide, a white solid. Write a formula equation for the above reaction. So sodium metal, so let's write the symbol for sodium metal. The symbol for sodium metal is like this. Sodium then burns explosively in oxygen plus it reacts with oxygen. The symbol for oxygen is like this, plus oxygen forming sodium oxide, and the symbol for sodium oxide, the formula is like this. So we have written the formula equation. So they say including state symbols. So this is a metal, so it's a solid, and this is a gas, or it's a non-metal, it's a gas, so meaning it's a gas. Then sodium oxide, it's a solid. Sodium oxide is a solid. Then balance the above chemical equation in one above. So to balance this equation, we are just going to write this equation like this. So we have one sodium atom here, then here we have two sodium atoms. We have two oxygen atoms here. Here we have one oxygen atom. So let's first of all balance oxygen atoms. So to balance oxygen atoms, we are going to put a 2. So we have two oxygen atoms. Then if even here we have two oxygen atoms. Now for sodium, we have 2 times 2, we have 4 sodium atoms. So we are just going to put a 4 here. And to write the balanced chemical equation, it is going to be like this: 4 sodium solid plus oxygen gas forming 2 sodium oxide, which is a solid. So like this, we have written all the things required. So let's go to the last question of section B, which is question 5. So ethanoic acid is a weak acid found in vinegar, while sulfuric acid is a strong acid. Explain what is meant by the term weak acid. Uh, weak weak acids are acids that partially ionizes when dissolved in water. This is what weak acid is. Then write the equation to show the ionization of sulfuric acid. So let's first of all write the formula for sulfuric acid. The formula for sulfuric acid is like this. This is sulfuric acid. Then it ionizes in water to form 2 hydrogen positive, which is a metal, plus sulfuric, one sulfur, and the variance of 2. So this is the ionization of sulfuric acid. So if you want to know more about this, I'll give you my WhatsApp number. Then ethanoic acid. So the formula for ethanoic acid is like this: ethanoic acid. This is ethanoic acid. When it dissolves in water, it produces one hydrogen gas plus ethanol, one hydrogen gas plus this. So this is the ionization of sulfuric acid and ethanoic acid. And in each case, state the basicity of sulfuric and ethanoic acid. So first of all, to state this basicity, we need to understand what basicity is. So basicity is the number of hydrogen gas produced from 1 mole of an acid. So if we look at this, sulfuric acid produces 2 hydrogen gas and ethanoic acid produces 1 hydrogen gas. So basicity of sulfuric acid is 2 and basicity of ethanoic acid is 1. Then what is the major characteristic feature of an acid? The major characteristic feature of an acid is hydrogen gas. This is because hydrogen gas is the one that gives an acid its characteristic property. So here we can say The major characteristic of an acid is hydrogen gas. That's all. Name the acid that is found in sour milk and green vegetables. In sour milk, the acid which is found there is lactic acid. And in green vegetables, it is citric acid. State two chemical properties of sulfuric acid. So here we can just state the chemical characteristic of an acid. So we can say sulfuric 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 acid reacts with a metal to produce a salt and hydrogen gas. The other one is sulfuric acid reacts with a base to produce salt and water only. And this reaction is called neutralization reaction. This is called neutralization reaction. So neutralization reaction is the reaction where a base reacts with an acid to produce water and salt only. So thank you for watching. Bye bye.